monitoring his innings, or just you felt like that was the time to make the move to just faltering a little bit?
Yeah, he was in a really good spot there the first 3 innings. All the strikeouts were full counts, where they were really working them. And then there in the fourth, just a bunch of traffic. That was time to move on.
What are you seeing from him? And I mean, I know he just pitched, but is he staying in the rotation moving forward? Is this a guy you trust to keep going?
Yeah, just like we do every time through, we evaluate what we think is the best thing for us, and we'll continue with that process. But I thought that was a step forward for Noah. Really good there for the 3 innings, and maybe he gets through that there in the fourth if I leave him in there. But I thought he did a nice job, and we'll talk about it moving forward just like we do every time.
We had some miscues defensively today.
We really did. It was a sloppy game defensively, even in some plays that didn't end in errors, just not sharp there. I thought, really impacted the game, obviously, and really was the difference there. So, yeah, got to clean it up, go to work tomorrow, and be better next time.
There were the 2 times that runners were able to get from third, I think with Rosario and Chisholm. What were kind of going on in those 2 plays, or did you see things that were correctable there?
Yeah, just falling asleep there with Chisholm. We talk about it pregame and give him a heads up. That was just one of those plays where he caught us sleeping. And then the Rosario one was the back pick there that just got away from Acuna.
Do you think Jersh didn't remember that Montgomery's leg was a little off when he sent him?
Oh, it's a good aggressive send with 2 outs. I think Colson, was moving really well the first few bases there, and then just ran out of gas. So, Jersh is aggressive over there. We love the aggressiveness, and that was just a case where it didn't work out.
You said that you liked the first 3 innings from Noah. What did you like specifically that you saw from him today in those first 3?
The fastballs, 4-seamer and 2-seamer, were really good. The cutter was really good. Kind of the harder stuff was really working for him today.
Said he loved your execution tonight. Just how did you feel from that standpoint?
Yeah, I feel like we had a good game plan going into it. Q called a great game. Felt like we were on the same page most of the time. It was really good, early in the game. Just felt like gassed out before a little bit. It was unfortunate.
Would you like to have stayed in the inning just to see what you could do?
I understood the decision. That kind of upset me. I think that it was probably the right thing to do in the right moment. The inning hadn't been going very well, building up to that. So no, I would not say that I was upset. I think that it was the right move. I think that I clearly lost it that inning.
Your pitch mix was a lot different today than it was in Texas. Was that something to get you back on the right track, or was that more game plan oriented?
Yeah, me, Q, and the pitching coaches sat down and kind of looked at some videos from a couple years ago, kind of the pitch mix that I had when I had such good control. Not when I had, but when I had better control. Something that we leaned on, that finding that sometimes the sinker hadn't played as much for righties. That we found that that's always been my main fastball. Something that we tried to establish tonight, which I feel like early in the game we did a good job of.
Mechanically, it looks like you're really headed north-south a lot more. You guys have been working hard on that part of it as well?
If anything, I think we're going more east-west. I think showing the north-south, I think plays a little bit better. After going east-west, that's kind of my arsenal, the thing that I've gone with for a while. Something that we've talked through, and obviously had some games to kind of experiment and go through with different arsenals and what's worked and what hasn't.
We talked to you about your first year and his development involved in it, and where is your confidence level at this point as you move forward?
Yeah, I feel like if you don't have full confidence in yourself, you shouldn't be pitching. I think it's something that, regardless of outcomes, that if you don't have confidence, you shouldn't be getting the ball. Something that I never have low confidence in myself. I think that there's always things to work on, and I'm always open to that.
What did you feel about? It wasn't a ton of breaking balls tonight, but how did you feel like the work you were talking about, midweek, kind of transferred over into what you were saying?
Yeah, some different shapes on the slider. Definitely felt good with it. Had some good results with the cutter early that we kept throwing it a little bit later. But again, I think working through some stuff that I think you can have a plan going into it, and then you get certain results that you don't always have to stick straight to the plan. I think that responding on how the hitters are responding is the most important thing.
Like you said, you kind of lost it in the fourth inning there. What did you feel different in that fourth inning versus the first 3?
Just a little gassed out. I wouldn't say that there was a specific moment that I did. I just obviously it was good the first time through the lineup. Just unfortunate that it didn't happen the second time.
Will was mentioned, the strikeouts kind of came on full counts, and it seemed like they had a patience approach on you. Did that kind of lead to attacking the zone with heaters the way you're talking about?
Yeah, definitely. Had some deep counts that the first time through that had good results. That some deep counts and some too many pitches being thrown, which definitely selfish on my end. That having to bring in like 5 or 6 relievers. Definitely not what you want to do first game with a 4-game set. Definitely not ideal, and some things to work on.
Felt good. Came in. Kind of felt about the same as I did yesterday, but we kind of did everything we could to get myself ready. And I mean, once I started running around and stuff pregame, I felt pretty good. And then led into the game, kind of didn't really think about it, so it was good.
Is it tough for you? You have to right now to go to DH and when you're used to being out there every day and all aspects.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah, I mean, I could have 100% played shortstop today. We had those conversations and stuff. So I mean, they thought this was the best thing to do for the team today. But I don't mind DHing. I mean, I don't really want to DH just because I want to be out on the field and playing short. But it's definitely a different kind of schedule. You have a lot more time to relax. So I kind of just had to find a way to lock back in and, in the cage, do something that kind of, was game-like.
Are you hindered running or fielding or swinging more right now? Or is it just a matter of getting it loose?
I mean, I think it's more of just getting it loose. Kind of when I, start up running, it's a little more, kind of aggravating. But then like, once I get going, it's fine. But I would say it's more running. I mean, hitting, I don't really feel it that much. Throwing, fielding, nothing really. It's just running.
Can you take us through that send late in the game?
Yeah, I mean, there was 2 outs, right? I mean, we all know, Jersh is, I think he's one of the best third base coaches, and he gets, really good reads and everything like that. And I think it was 100%. If that's what he thought he needed to do, I mean, I'm 100%. You'll buy it. I felt like I got a pretty good jump off of it. Lefty on the mound. I felt, I couldn't really get too far off the plate or off first base. So I don't know. I thought I got a pretty good jump. I thought I was gonna score, but they're good players too. Made decent relays and stuff. So I mean, I'll support it.
You've been up there years. You know about the kind of ups and downs for guys in his first year. I mean, Noah has had some good moments. Noah's had some struggles. Obviously, it's heightened a little bit because you guys are winning now. So I kind of understand that situation where it's a little more focused when you're struggling with that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean when you struggle, it's definitely more of like microscope, under a microscope and stuff. But I mean, he comes in here each day. He sticks with his routine and his process and stuff. So I mean, I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. I know he's gonna, go out there and compete. Every day he comes in here, prepares himself, and especially on game days. He's locked in. And we know he's part of our future. So, I mean, I feel like each outing, you can pick out a lot of negatives, but then he also does a lot of positives. Today I thought he threw pretty well. It was just kind of got in a little jam with those 2 walks, but and then baseball, they kind of have full of soft singles and stuff like that. But I mean, I think he's going to do good. I think he's going to stay with this course, and I think he's going to get out of it.
I know you talked about it doesn't matter who you're facing, you just stick with the same approach. But overall, just how do you feel versus lefties this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said. I think it's a confidence thing. I might now start thinking opposite of thinking of righty as a lefty, just how I've been swinging against lefties recently. But I think it's just a huge confidence thing. When I go up there, I'm not up there thinking, just because it's a lefty, it's a mismatch. In my eyes now, I think of it as a mismatch for them as the pitcher, just because I'm confident in myself that I'm going to be able to handle lefties, just because I feel like I've shown that.
You played heavily all season, but is there kind of a special motivation, just like a slate of tough teams that you guys are playing up right now that I don't know, as I said, you've played throughout a lot of stuff this season, but is there an extra juice to it, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things we can do right now is think of these as playoff games. These are the type of, teams that we have coming up, the Yankees and the Rays, guys who are, teams that are going to be in the playoffs. So, I mean, we can kind of shift our mind of thinking it's playoff games, I mean, especially these, it's kind of a little gauntlet, coming up with the teams that we faced. But, like I've said before, we're just going to come in here, we're going to, prepare, stick with our process, and, I mean, I think we're going to, handle the rest of the series. I mean, I think we're going to stick with our process. So,
what are you learning about this Yankees team?
I mean, it's just one of those teams, they're a really good team, they're a veteran team. It's just they're not going to go away. We got up 3-0, I wouldn't say that we got, complacent or anything like that. It's just that they're going to stay on the gas pedal. They're a really talented team, so they're not going to give up. And I think that's kind of what we've learned. When we play like really good teams and kind of older teams. So I think that's also a learning experience. Going in to August and September.